Alright guys, welcome to this page of the notes. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the second objective or learning target at the beginning of this note set. And what we're going to do now is we're going to look at lines of regression. This is going to be using your calculator to do exactly what we did in the previous problems, but hopefully a little bit more accurately. And here's the reason why. What you probably noticed when I drew my best fit line is that some data points were closer to the line than other data points. In the one question, the question that we just did on the previous page, I had one data point above the line, I had two data points below the line, and it's easy to tell that it's not as accurate as it could be. This is what your calculator is going to do. We're going to make a regression line, and this is determined through a complex set of calculations to ensure that the distance of all the data points, the distance from all the data points to your line is at a minimum. All right, so your calculator is going to draw a line that is as close to every single data point as is mathematically possible. Way too complicated calculations for us to do on your own. We'd spend all day just doing the calculations to draw our line, and then we haven't even made our prediction yet, right? So we're going to use our calculator to do it. Your calculator can easily perform these calculations using the keystrokes, which I'll go through with you. Also, you could do this on Excel. Excel is a great place to put in a set of data, and then using all of the graphing functions in Excel, you could also do a best fit line or a line of regression. So here's what we've got. I have a data set for you that shows the life expectancy for people born in the United States by year. So what year they're expected to live to, right? In 1998, it was 73.7. In 2006, the life expectancy was 77.7. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to use our graphing calculator to make a scatter plot. We're going to enter all of these data points and go ahead and make a graph. It should look just like the one in the picture here. Now this is a lot of keystrokes, right? And showing you how to do it on this video is going to be a little bit tricky with this calculator. So I'm just going to go through it with you. I will have shown you how to do this in class. This is just a refresher or reminder if you get stuck at home. Also, please feel free to look at the user manual that came with your calculator, or go to YouTube and look up some videos on how to make scatter plots on YouTube using a TI-84 or TI-84 Plus graphing calculator. There'll be tons of people on there that'll show you the keystrokes and pushing all of the buttons and how to do this. So let's just jump right into it. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a scatter plot. In order to make a scatter plot, we're going to need to go into Stat. Once you're in Stat, we'll hit Enter, and you're going to put all of these data points into a table in your calculator. So Stat and Enter, it should be Stat, and then when you hit Enter, it'll be Edit. It should say Edit. We're going to edit the table. We'll put in all of our years. So 1980, enter. 1983, enter. 1990, enter. And just keep going. 95, enter. 2000, enter. 2006, enter. Once you've had all the years in there, you're now going to go use your directional buttons, the arrow buttons over here on the D-pad, the directional arrow buttons, to get back up into the second column, and you'll enter the corresponding years. So 73.7, hit enter, it'll drop you down to the next one. 74.6, hit enter. So what you're going to do is you're going to have this table, the exact same data points, but instead of it written out horizontally like this in your calculator, it'll be in two vertical columns. Year in the first column, life expectancy in the second column. Again, the reason for that, the independent variable always goes in the first column, year of course being independent. What depends on the year? Well, the life expectancy of people living in the US. So the life expectancy will be in that second column. Once we've entered all of that, we now need to go ahead and change, for graphing purposes, our viewing window. Let me slide this up here so that you can see it. Once I've entered all of those into my data table, I now need to change my viewing window, because if you just went ahead and graphed it at this point, you wouldn't see anything. The window on your calculator would be blank, right? Because all of your data points are not inside the window your calculator is showing you. We need to take that window and we need to move it to where the data points are. And this is actually pretty easy to do. Because year is on the x-axis, we're going to adjust the x axis in our graphing calculator to accommodate these years. My lowest year is 1980. So they say, well, go ahead, go into window. It's going to be the right below your calculator screen, kind of over for you guys on the left-hand side. It'll be window. And you're going to go ahead and change your x-min, the x-min value to 1975, and hit enter. Why 1975? Well, it's a little bit below 1980. And since 1980 is going to be a data point for me, I'll go just a little bit below it so I know that that data point will show up. My largest year is 2006. So I need to go a little bit above that, right, so that I know that that data point will show up. So they go to 2010. Perfect. Go ahead and hit enter. Excuse me. Since I'm going from 1975 to 2010, I don't want to go by my units to be single years, right? Because then it'd be 1975, 1976, 1977, 1978. It'd take forever to get to 2010. So they go by fives, right? So then it would be 1975, 1980, 1985, 1990. I get to 2010 much quicker. It'll just make your graph look a lot nicer when your calculator graphs it. Go ahead and hit enter. This is going to take you to your y-min. So now we're looking at the life expectancy, which is on our y-axis, the dependent variable. Well, I need to go, right, my smallest is 73.7 years. Well, I need to go less than that because I need to be able to see this point on the screen, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to 70. It's a little bit less than 73. Perfect. Great choice. 70 will hit enter. My largest is 77.7. Now you absolutely could go to 80 or 85. Both of those are perfectly okay. In your book, they just happen to go to 90. Whatever, that's fine, right? That's going to leave me this giant gap up here at the top of my screen, but that's okay. As long as you're above 77, it's going to work. So if you do 80 or 85, no problemo. Both of those will work just fine. And I don't want to go, right, this is a 20-year span. 70 to 90 is 20 years. I don't want to go by ones, because then it'd be 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 20 years. We'll go by twos, right? It'll just make your graph look a little nicer. All right, now that we've fixed our window, now that my calculator is going to look in the right spot, we need to go ahead and tell it to graph these data points. So here's how this is going to go. We're going to make our stat plot. The way you're going to do it is you need to hit the second button. The second button on your guys' calculator should be blue in the top left-hand corner for you guys. Should just say second on it. You're then going to hit stat plot. Again, stat plot is going to be the button right under your screen on the far left-hand side. The button says y equals. But above it in blue, it says stat plot. So we're going to go second, hit that y equals button for stat plot. You're going to go enter to turn on the stat plot or the scatter plot. Enter to, I forget what that one does. I think that one sets what the blocks are going to look like. You can do squares, you can do diamonds, you can do circles, different types of things. And then you're going to go ahead and hit graph, which is the button right underneath your screen on the far right-hand side. And you should get a picture that looks exactly like the one here. As long as you've done all these keystrokes the correct way, should get that picture. Your calculator has now graphed it for you. So all those graphs we did by hand in the previous problems, now your calculator is doing it for you. What we're going to then take a look at here on the next page in the notes is going ahead and finding the line of regression and using it to make a prediction. So head on over to the next page of the notes and I will meet you there.